I might be called many things, but one title that eludes me is plant person. It's not that I don't like plants, it's just that, well, I have a pretty bad track record with them. Well, thanks to Isa, who is a plant person, I was educated as to what plants I would be able to have in my office here in an indoor setting that gets basically no sunlight. And I actually have a product that would be able to help me maintain these plants for many, many days, weeks, years, hopefully, to come. Hey, it's Joshua Vergara. What's going on, everybody? Let's take a look at the GrowCube. This is a smart automatic watering kit that could make you a better plant person. Shout out to Elecrow, a big thanks to them for letting me try out the GrowCube. This video was not sponsored, but they did let me have this GrowCube to try out and to share with all of you as the Kickstarter campaign kicks off. I'm gonna do the unboxing of this GrowCube and actually get it set up during this video, and then let it go through at least one cycle with the plants that I have right now. But in order for me to actually demonstrate this product properly, I have to show you what subjects we are working with. And here we are. These are my plant babies here in the office. This is Snake, and then this one is ZZ. Those are actually what plants they are. I know plant parents tend to name their plant babies, but I just haven't gotten around to doing that. But I love having these two plants in the office. Not only do they provide some of the very important fresh air, after all that's what plants do in a space, but they are also great decorative pieces over in my living area, which I'm sitting in right now, in a corner that is actually pretty smart. These plants don't necessarily need to be watered so frequently. And they do need sunlight, but you can actually sustainably give it that sunlight via a grow light, which I have hanging in a sconce right above it. That's a GE grow light, and it's actually scheduled to turn on every day at 9 a.m. and turn off at 6 p.m. The fact that it turns off at 6 o'clock is also a signal for me to probably stop working and leave the office. When I first got the snake plant, it was not as tall as you're seeing right now. A couple of the stalks have gotten very, very tall, almost to the point of touching that grow light. So the grow light does a really good job of still giving this enough sunlight so that these plants can thrive. But when it comes to watering them, these plants don't need to be watered more than maybe 1, maybe 2 weeks at a time. Of course, depending on not just when you last watered it, but also based upon the soil. And I do the really simple thing. I just kind of stick my finger into the soil and see if it's super dry or not. In this case, I think we're close to needing these to be watered again. Enter the GrowCube, a smart automatic watering kit. Clearly, it is like a tank, and then you're going to have some stuff that actually like gets the water from the tank into the plants themselves. Heading over to the side here, we have the reliable soil moisture sensor, app control, I'm gonna get into that a little bit later, dynamic watering system 4-channel, so you can have up to 4 plants here, and the tank is indeed 1.5 liters large. And it looks like it's gonna be pretty nice, and given that I have a smart corner over there with those 2 plants, this is going to fit right in. This is what tech is supposed to do. It's supposed to make certain things much easier by just giving it a little bit of extra smarts. And that can go for raising plants as well. All right, here comes the tank. I actually like how minimal this is. It's clearly going to just slide right to the side of the 2 pots for my plants. Clearly we have these 4 areas where the hoses will go, and then 4 contact points where the sensors will go. Ooh, there's everything. We have all of the stuff that's needed. So it looks like these are the actual sensors. The hoses that will be used, we're just gonna use 2 of them. Going back to the box, we just have the power cable. So this is everything that you get with the GrowCube. And of course, I don't know if I showed this yet, but there is the logo there up front with a couple of indicators. As I'm going through the manual, I'm gonna get started on the setup in a second. One of the reasons why this product is gonna be important for me is because I'm actually going to be away from my office for quite some time coming up very soon. So with that in mind, I need to make sure that my plants are going to be taken care of. Now, I could always just kind of bring it home and have someone like my parents take care of them, or I can even have somebody come to the office and water them. But honestly, if I have something like this to be able to help me out, why not use it? We're only going to need 2 sensors, so this is what the sensor looks like. Basically, what we're trying to do here is we're going to put the sensor in and only allow for maybe like 1 centimeter or so of it to be sticking out of the soil, but you want the location of this sensor to be as close to the main body of the plant as possible. Seems simple enough already. We have a connection there. And for the second sensor, we're only going to use 2 for now. When it comes to the hoses, I am supposed to cut it based upon the distance between this and the actual plants. And then there's going to be a nozzle that has these holes in them. I'm going to kind of wrap it around the base of the plant. That way it can water evenly. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do everything that I just read as far as setting up the GrowCube with the plants, and then it's time to get over to the actual app. I'm pretty jazzed to do this, and it makes sense because something like plant raising or taking care of plants, you add a level of tech to it, and obviously I'm in. Okay, we're good to go, I hope. But now I have plugged it in, and these flashing lights means it's ready for app connection. Like right here, add plants and set watering parameters on app. Yay, there we go. Yep, okay. Smart watering next. There we go, plant nickname. ZZ. Suitable soil moisture. Brief introduction to the actual plant itself. So we are learning more about the plants that we have that we are going to water with the GrowCube. And now that I have that plant added in, the sensor is definitely telling me current soil moisture 0. The put the finger in the soil test was accurate after all. For my trusty snake plant over here, my nice and tall snake plant, I had to actually use Google to figure out exactly what the name was. There were a couple of different names for the same looking plant, so I was a little bit confused, but I figured it out. It looks like it's this one. And that one even, look at that, 7 to 50% moisture is optimal, so it doesn't even need too much water. And there you go, both plants are there. The A plant is ZZ plant, B is snake, and as the sensors show, 0% moisture in the soil. Thank goodness Isa suggested these particular plants for my office. All right, with all of that work done, the smart corner seems to have gotten even more smarts. Now I'm gonna fill this thing with water and let's see how this goes. One thing I need to mention here is that the GrowCube will connect to your Wi-Fi network, and that is a convenient feature if you have multiple devices. If you have just one, you can just connect straight to it. But the fact that it connects to your Wi-Fi does not mean that you can actually check your soil moisture and water your plants remotely. So that's a little bit of a bummer, but once you get back to where your GrowCubes are, you can always check those levels and make sure that everything's okay. Considering the fact that there are electronics all over the place, the one thing that I want to see out of this, at least for now, is that it's not just gonna like shoot water out of all of the places. I'd prefer it to be just like a very controlled, at least a very calm trickle. We're gonna start with the ZZ plant. I'm gonna hit the manual button and let's see what happens. Ooh, look at that, it's working pretty well. You can clearly see that there's water in the soil now. It was definitely coming out from the nozzle properly, wasn't squirting outward anywhere that it would like wet anything other than the soil itself. So far, so good. Let's move on to the ZZ plant over on B. I'm gonna hit the manual button. It still says 0% moisture over there, so hopefully that'll increase pretty soon, but let's hit this button right now. I actually made a mistake here by hitting the manual button. It also requires you to hit stop manually, so that was my fault. But the moisture is now in the green zone. Originally, it thought it had like 50% moisture or anything like that. That's probably just because the water was like hitting the sensor, and then it still needs to sort of spread across the soil. So it went from like 50 down to 30, and now we're at 27% for the ZZ plant and 12% for the snake plant. The snake plant actually has a much taller pot, so I'm not surprised that it might take a little bit longer for that to go up in value. But according to the built-in parameters, it's not as if these have to be very high in current soil moisture anyway. So as long as the water that I put into the tank is able to keep it at a pretty good level, at least above minimum, I think that's a win. And so there you have it, a look at the GrowCube. I do have the plants set to automatic watering based upon the moisture levels. I know a lot of people who really appreciate plants, but they don't really have the skill or the time or even the patience to actually take care of one, and the GrowCube might be a perfect item for them to get into plant raising. Not to mention, the GrowCube application will teach you about the plants that you have connected to it. The GrowCube is on Kickstarter right now, and at the time of this video releasing, there are 2 weeks left in the campaign. So hit the link that is in the description and down in the pinned comment. That way you can check out the Kickstarter for yourself and see if the GrowCube is something that you would be interested in, even if you have even just a passing interest in actually having a plant of your own to care for. What kind of plants would you connect to the GrowCube? Let me know in the comment sections down below, and from there I'm going to go ahead and call it on this one. Thank you so much for watching. Please take care of yourselves and each other, and enjoy your tea and enjoy your plant care, everybody.